Hello everyone. In this video, I will explain how to run analysis of variance using examples. Now, in the last video, I explained that the grouping variable will be categorical measurement scale or level of measurement, which will be nominal or ordinal. For other variable that will be used for comparison will be interval or ratio level of measurement. But I also allow you to choose ordinal measurement scale for your project. Okay, so you have more room to maneuver, so to speak. Now, let me switch to the Excel. Okay, I open the general social survey data set. And from there, I already chose age variable and their values, then divorce variable and its values. Now, the immediate question you may have is, how can we choose the proper variables? Now, I would say, as you see over here, I will compare more than two groups of sample. Let me just use the pen, okay? Just more than two groups of sample. Let me just draw another circle and another circle. Maybe three groups of sample in terms of their opinion about divorce role. So I would say this is D1, okay? This is D2, and this is D3, okay? So these three samples, groups of sample, they are divided based on their opinion about divorce role. Then these three groups of sample will be compared in terms of their age. So the possible hypothesis might be there is a relationship or correlation between opinion about divorce role and their average age. Okay, so with that kind of idea, we can run ANOVA test. Now, actually, the real meaning of a divorce can be found in one of the word file I posted in ASE Learn. Let me just switch to that variable information file. You know, one of the in your data set folder, you will find the variable view info for each data set. Since this is general social survey, you need to open number one, variable info, parentheses, general social survey. When you open that, you will find the real meaning of each variable. And then after that, you will see how numbers are assigned. Let me just show you how numbers are assigned in each variable. Okay, it is a long file, especially for general social survey. So after checking the meaning of the variable and the way they assign number, I put the note here. So I chose divorce law, which is about should divorce law be easier or more difficult. Some says she should be easier, others says it should be more difficult. So that sort of individual opinion was collected in the data set, and this will be this will be used as a grouping variable. So go back to let me go back to Excel. Okay, so after copying and paste of those age and divorce variable, we need to sort this uh, variable and related information divorce, based on divorce variable. Okay, so how can you do that? Choose these two columns, and then let me just move. Uh, so choose all first and second column, and then go to data menu and click sort. And then sort by divorce, which is a grouping variable in this example, and click OK. So when you do that, the age information and divorce information will be sorted based on divorce. So, which means in the divorce information column, it will be 1111, and after that 2222 and 333. Let me just quickly show you. After one was over and two is beginning, and then three will be beginning, etc. So before running analysis of variance, there's a simple job you need to do. So again, as I showed you before, over here, where is it? Let me see. So after sorting these two variables, we need to do a preliminary job before running on an ANOVA test. So which means depending on the people's opinion about divorce law, let's say D1, which is it should be easier, D2, and D3. The real meaning also can be found in the variable information. Let me just go back to that part quickly. So D1 is it should be easier, D2 stay the same, D3 more, it should be more difficult. Okay. So let me go back to Excel. So using grouping variable, I typed D1 should be easier, D2 stays same, D3 should be more difficult. I mean, divorce law. Now, under each name, D1 through D3, we needed to put age information, which will be I would call comparison variable. So as I explained, the D1, D2, and D3 samples will be compared in terms of their average age. So we're gonna examine whether or not there is a relationship between age and opinion about divorce law. So to do that, we're gonna copy age information that corresponds to one until one end. So I'm going to copy age information that corresponds to one until one end. It is a big file. A large information is in there. A lot of people participate in the general social survey. So I need to copy more and more. Okay. Oh, I went too far. Okay, I should stop here because in column B, now one end. So Control C, copy, and put under D1, under B. Likewise, for D2, copy age information that corresponds to divorce 2. So we need to go down when 2 begins, we need to begin to copy. So that is going to be until column B2 is over. Okay, so divorce law opinion 2 means it will stay same. Wow. Too far? Okay. I will be careful. Yeah, it should be start here and Control C, copy, and put that under D2. Control B. For D3, again, we need to go down to see when divorce opinion 3 begins. So where is 3? Okay, so 3, divorce opinion 3 begins over here. So we need to copy age information from here till to the end. Oops, I went too far. Yeah. Yeah. Over here, we need to stop cell A1032. No. Where is it? Row 1910. Okay, so Control C. And then paste all below D3. So this is all preliminary job you need to do before running ANOVA test. So, excuse me. To run ANOVA test, you need to click Data Analysis toolpath, which is on the Data menu. So let me click Data Analysis. When you do that, you will find there are 3 kinds of ANOVA tests is provided in Extend. What you're going to do is ANOVA single factor, which means there will be only one independent variable, or there will be only one grouping variable. Okay, so sometimes you choose 2 grouping variables, and I'm not going to ask you to do that for your group project. So I will choose ANOVA single factor, which means there will be only one grouping variable. Click OK. Okay. Now, the first thing you need to do is designate input range. Okay. Let me just delete all of this before choosing input range. Input range will be from D1 through D3 and including all those information. Okay, so D1 through D3 has different sample, they have different sample size. So we need to cover all of this by going down and down until D3 is over. D3 information is over. Okay. Okay, now it's time. Okay, so we finished choosing input range, and you don't need to change grouped by column because D1 through D3 was grouped by column. Now labels in first row, yeah, should be checked because we included the D1 through D3 names themselves. Alpha as a default, 5% or 0.05. Now, output range. I'm going to have ANOVA result in new worksheet line. Okay, so click OK. This is what you are supposed to have. Let me just adjust the column. Okay. Now, it is nicely summarized in the first table that D1, D2, D3, 492% says divorce law should be made easier. More than 500 people say divorce law should stay same, things like that. And this is average. Average for what? We remember that we're gonna compare their age. Okay, so the age is going to be comparison variable. So this is eventually you need to understand this will be age. Okay, so average is about age. So it looks like D2 and D3 is a little bit higher average age than D1. Okay, now go down to the second table. Now, as I explained, in the several videos before, we need to look at p-value. P-value. So how can we decide whether or not we reject null hypothesis? If p-value is 5% or lower, then we can reject null hypothesis. This means what? 5.32 times 1 over 10 to the 6. Okay, so which means 5.32. Okay, I'm not going to write it down. Okay, so again, this is 5.32 times 1 over 10 to the 6. So the result value will be almost 0. Okay, so when p-value is 5% or lower, we should reject null hypothesis, which means our original hypothesis is supported. Okay, now there are all the information you see over here between groups and within groups. As I explained, F statistic is the simple ratio between group variation and within group variation. So if you divide this value by this, you're going to get this F ratio. Okay, so it doesn't matter. We're not going to use the graph and critical value and stuff. Simply look at the p-value. It is obviously way lower than 5%. So we should conclude that there is a significant relationship between age and their opinion about divorce law. Okay, now let me show you another example. This is another example. To save time, I already copied court information and education information from this general social survey. And I already sorted them and copy and paste them under quote 1 through 3. Now, what does quote mean? Let me just switch to that information. Okay, so quote means what? I copied and pasted from a variable information I showed you before. So quote means what? A court dealing with criminals too harsh. Some people say it is too harsh. Others says not harsh enough. Others says it is overright. So we're gonna compare their three main opinions from too harsh to about right. Okay, so their opinion about court will be used as a grouping variable. So let me switch to Excel. So quote 1 through quote 3, okay? And in this case, the hypothesis will be there is a relationship between people's opinion about the criminal court and their educational level. So on the education, this number means number of years in education. So high number means they are more educated. So again, the possible hypothesis will be there is a relationship between criminal court opinion and their educational level. So I already finished this preliminary job before running ANOVA test. So now it's time to run ANOVA. So let me click data analysis. And again, we need to choose ANOVA single factor because there's only one grouping variable, which is a people's opinion about criminal court. Okay, so click OK. Now we need to choose input range. So let me just empty this and then choose quote 1 through quote 3 and include all information underneath it. So So going down, down, down until we include everything. Okay. Yeah. The second quarter two has lower observation number. Okay, so that means many people choose that it should be what? Should be harsher. Okay, I don't quite remember what each number means right now. But anyway, we can go back to that variable information file to make sure. But anyway, I need to include everything. A lot of people choose to second option. So now I chose the all quarter one through quarter three information here. We included the quarter one through quarter three, so labels in the first row should be checked this way. Now it's time to click OK. So in the first summary table, different number of people chose different opinion. So again, second opinion was the most frequently chosen option. Now, interestingly, when you look at average of what? Average of comparison variable. In this case, quarter was grouping variable and education was comparison variable. So this is nothing but education level, right? So I just put that note, not to be confused. And they are pretty similar to each other, right? Now, however, interestingly, let me just adjust the color. Interestingly, although they are similar to each other, ANOVA result tells that p-value is lower than 5%. Is way lower than 5%. Okay, I believe this happens because of sheer size of the sample. Okay, huge size of the sample is always advantageous to a researcher. Theoretically, if you have a larger sample size this way, you're gonna have a smaller sampling error. That means your F statistic or any other statistic will be larger. I'm not going to cover that details. You guys are not interested in that. You know the F ratio means. What F ratio means? That is what mean squared sum of squared deviation. Simply you call mean square over within mean scale over between group over mean scale over within group. If you this divide by this, you're gonna get this F ratio. But anyway, straightforwardly, look at p-value. It is 5% or lower, so you can conclude that there is a significant relationship between people's opinion about criminal court and their educational level. Now, your possible question might be, are they all different from each other? Quarter one opinion versus quarter two, 1 versus 3, 2 versus 3. That sort of question can be taken care of by running post hoc test. Post hoc test is available in many professional software package, but in Excel, to answer that question, we need to compare 1 with 2, 1 with 3 separately, or 2 with 3 using independent meta t-test. So you learn the t-test, and independent meta t-test is not a big deal. So we compare, let's say, quarter 1 and quarter 2, running independent meta t-test and check whether or not there is a significant difference in terms of the education level. Okay, so that is the only possible option in Excel to run post hoc test after ANOVA. So I'm not going to cover that. So in this case, just to pay attention to p-value, But so since it is less than 5%, you are okay to conclude that there is a significant difference between educational level and people's opinion about criminal court. Okay, that's the second example. Thank you, guys.